so this morning we're going to pick up on part 2 on what on earth am I here for? The purpose driven life. Um, After I finish with the second half of this pamphlet, I will be showing you guys the other pieces that I got from the table because I will be utilizing these other books and pamphlets on today. That's where I will be getting my video footage from. Again, I will be, as I see fit, also be doing Instagram stories as well. Just depending on the ebb and flow of today, because we still have to do the inventory and do other things on today. So I know I will be busy, busier than I was on yesterday, just because we have to finish up for the end of drill. Monday I will also be doing drill things as well. So I probably will be doing some mostly recordings versus reels and any other content besides recording. So just stay tuned for that. It will depend on what all I get done on Sunday, as far as whatever else other content that I'll get in on Monday. As far as if it would just be recordings and that's it, or recordings with a mixture of a little bit of reels. So I'll just gauge my day on Monday depending on, like I said, everything that I get accomplished on Sunday. Now I know today is going to be a busy day, so I already prepped my vitamins. I'm already planning on getting where we need to be stationed at early enough to be able to get something to eat, because I don't know what time we're getting released today. So I want to make sure I'm functioning on a high level, fully functional, and not on an empty stomach. So I want to make sure that I get there in a proper enough time. That's why I'm watching the time now. And I was like, let me just go ahead and get the recording done now, because I know it's going to be a morning where I want to make sure that I'm well prepared as far as nutrition, because I know I want to be able to get through the inventory. Now I know each month that we do the inventory, each month is different. The same inventory does not print out twice, meaning the same inventory does not print out the same each month. And why that is because the system wants you to be familiarized with your stuff. That's the thing about supply. You have to know where everything is. With us having multiple supply rooms, it can be a challenge, but it's doable if you know your stuff. And the more you do the inventory, the more advanced the inventory prints out for you to find the items, the more advanced of a clerk that you'll be. It sets you up for success. I understand the method to the madness. Yeah, it can be kind of tedious at the time when you're looking at the newly printed out inventory and you're like, whoa, but it doesn't tell you the slot of where it is. Well, no, it's not, because you can look at the previous month and look and see where you found the item. It's just on how you approach a situation. Again, are you going to just sit there and just continue to look at the inventory, or are you going to actually try to help yourself and use the previous month to be able to conquer the inventory? It's a challenge for a reason. Can you handle it? You have to. That's what you signed up for. And the more you do it, the more proficient that you get at it. And so I will be the one starting it, probably completing it too today, and probably tomorrow, maybe majority today. So I want to be able to put my best foot forward and utilize all my resources to get it done. The good thing is, We always do it with a different section. The other section knows where their stuff is, for the most part, but still, they do provide guidance, so it's not like I'm going to be in it alone. I will have a proficient person there to guide, but I am the main one who has to know where the stuff is because I am the supply clerk. So I'm up this morning. I already took my shower. I already have in mind of what I'm going to eat when I get to where I need to be at a certain time, and I'm going to get there at a punctual enough time to be able to take my time and eat, and also be on site early, just in case there's any changes. I want to already be in the area and not having to worry about um, not being at the right place at the right time. All right, so with that, we're going to go on to, we're going to go ahead and continue on. And it says, knowing your purpose energizes your life. Of course, when you know what you're born to do, or when you finally come to realization what you're born to do, it of course brings energy to your life. You have no choice but to get prepared if this is the type of, if you're up for the challenge. If you say, okay, I can no longer run for this, I can no longer hide, I want to be able to express or show my gifts and my talents. I'm strong enough, I'm capable enough, I have the endurance, I will not back down. I know I will face challenges, I will conquer those challenges as they come in a professional way. Only you can determine if you have that gumption to be able to move forward. Again, it's not for everybody. Everybody will not be able to handle the challenges that come with giftedness, peculiarness, that type of stuff. It's not for the weak. Again, everybody can't handle it. It can be a struggle. But if you feel like you're one of the ones who can be able to function in a sort of normal capacity, or be able to function at a semi-normal capacity, and still be able to show your gifts and talents and have fun with it, enjoy it, not just, then hey, why not? But you have to know when you have to recharge and reset as well, because you don't want to burn out. It's easy for people with gifts and talents to overdo, overproduce if they don't have those boundaries set in place. Knowing your purpose prepares you for eternity. I would definitely say it does. Knowing that these gifts and talents didn't come from you, they came from God alone. God, of course, only chooses a select to be prepared and handle the task. He knows the ones that's going to set out on assignment, utilize their gifts and talents in a way that will change the world. And he also knows the ones that is going to be afraid of it, can't handle it. Once they find out, they kind of like break down, self-destruct. Sometimes those who self-destruct can redeem themselves. It can happen. Some who self-destruct never make it back because they crash out to the point of where they just literally crash out. And that's okay. Again, it's not for everyone. Being in the military is not for everyone. I recommend people do at least one contract because it does bring out the best in you. But again, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can mentally handle the challenges that come with being in the military. You have to be able to endure. It's the best thing that can ever happen to you, but you have to be willing and able and knowledgeable to take the good with the bad. The bad will only set you up for success, because with the bad comes challenges, but it challenges you to see if you can handle different situations. That's what the military is for. So I definitely think that once you find out why you really, really, really was assigned to this earth, and once you actually set out and actually do what you're set out to do on this earth, you will be at peace with yourself. And it sets you up for eternity because you know that you have to always either maintain that relationship with God, because only He can be the one to make sure that you're going to be okay with this journey, making sure that He guides you through the journey. You can't do it alone, especially if you're one of those ones that's hard to make friends because people don't understand you. They don't really know how to handle you in certain capacities. God, He's the only one that can get you through, because some things, like I said, people are just not going to understand. They're not going to, be able to help you in certain instances because they probably are still trying to understand. So, as long as and we may break away and have those moments, because life does get busy, where we don't always thank God for seeing something in us to actually make us different. But like I said, things will happen where you have no choice but to realize and to go back and to always remember that you have to keep that relationship with God. So, always, He will remind you, He will humble you Himself if you seem like you forgot. Let's see what else they say. So, questions to consider. If you asked your family and friends to describe what drives your life, what driving force or motivations would they mention? I think one thing that I can definitely say that my peers or people who've been around me or know of me could always say that I just never fully throw in the towel. I never just say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I will always continue to always be there for myself. I'm going to figure out a way to always make sure that I fight for what I want. A perfect example, I'm not from where I'm staying at currently. Had I have been weak and just fully like crashed out to the point where I just could not help myself anymore, I probably would have went home on the East Coast again. I would have ran back to the same people who ran me up out of there in the first place. But here I am, still adamant, still very much set in my own way, saying I will not be returning. I will do what I have to do, and I will continue to do what I have to do to stand on my own. But here's what I'm going to do while I'm standing on my own. I'm going to help you as well because you helped me. You were there for me when I was bouncing around. You supported me in my time of need. So I'm going to help you because you helped me. But I'm going to help you at a distance where it's healthy for me. So you can set those boundaries and you can still get things done. And one thing my family and friends can say is, what I say I'm going to do, I tend to set out and do it. I'm very firm on what I say. And if I say that I have you because you had me, I always look out for people who look out for me. Whether if you, showed me that tough love, whether if you, kind of didn't want to help me in the beginning, but you're coming around and you're like, okay, I see some potential. I'll help her out. Because I know people who kind of, I don't know, but they see that I'm persistent, I'm stubborn, I'm not going to, bend my will because you want me to. but I'm gonna be steadfast. And they come around and they're like, okay, I see that maybe she might be onto something, you know. So they can always say that I am going to be a fighter. I am going to set out and do what I say. I will be tired as hell. I will be stubborn as hell. I will be grumpy, but I will do what I have to do because I know I have to do it. And like I said yesterday, and I will mark this for kids not to listen to this because I am cursing a little bit and I don't want any backlash from this. So, and I'm saying this again, like, I've already said a couple curse words. Please do not have your kids watch this. Just a disclaimer. But yeah, you always feel good about yourself when you are doing the right thing. I've not ever felt bad for doing anything right. I feel like crap when I don't do things right. Um, well, actually, I should say I don't feel like crap because I still been sleeping and doing really well when I was running away from my problems. I'm not gonna lie, but now that I realize and I came to that realization that, okay, Crystal, just because you're an aloof person and really don't have that much emotion, you just can't be doing people all kind of way because you feel like you can still survive and live a semi-normal life. Not everyone is like different like you. Because y'all, you know, even when the situation, when I was looking and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what am I gonna do? Like, my family's not doing right. My siblings is not doing right. But y'all, I was still in here sleeping well as heck. I was not missing no sleep. I'm telling you, I wasn't. But now that I think about it, and now that I see that just because I was right, I'm still able to function and live a semi-normal life, even with mistakes involved, doesn't mean that I can still treat people like I never knew them or like they didn't mean anything to me because they do. It's just I can't explain how I am able to still kind of function without certain people in my life. It's just like I don't know, but I learned that that's not the way to be. It's not good to be a monster in a sense like that because that is like a monster's type trait. Like, how can you go on each day knowing that you're doing what you're doing and you're walking around like everything is perfectly okay? I can't explain that, but what I can do is I can realize that that is not okay. And you need to be there to help your kin. That is your people. You all come from the same blood, the same lineage, the same background. No matter if you think that you might be different from them, you're not because y'all are all the same. Just different personality traits. And like I said yesterday as well, I'm going to get old too. I'm going to get older to the point where I may need some assistance. Who's going to wipe my butt? Who's going to be there for me? Am I going to get that same treatment, you know, when I get older? Because I wanted to be a bitch, because I wanted to just be selfless or selfish. Karma, it comes back to you. I could probably get it worse. I don't claim that, but I can't control everything. God is in control. And if God says He wants me to continue to get a taste of my own medicine, He's definitely going to make that happen. And there's nothing I can do about it but endure it because that's how I treated people. So, to kind of reduce some of that karma or to reverse that karma, it is now time to, while I'm still healthy, while I'm still full of endurance, to be able to change some of my ways because it's just not okay. So why do you think most people are not driven and guided by the purpose of their lives? Well, only they can answer that. Maybe because they don't want, because like I said, once people realize that they have a certain knack or a certain gift that they could possibly get paid for, or that they're a little bit different from others. Some people don't want to accept the fact that it comes with great responsibility. Not everyone wants that responsibility. Not everyone wants, because once people find out, it's basically they're going to want to keep up with you. They're going to want to see what you're doing next. They're going to want to have to keep they're going to want to keep those tabs open just to follow along to see what you're going to do next. People are inspired by people who are unique and different. As creepy as it sounds, they kind of want to know, how are you going to use those gifts? Are you going to use it for the good? Or are you going to use it for the bad? They'll kind of like spy and stalk in ways that you probably don't know of. But at the same time, it's up to you to set those boundaries. And if you feel like you don't want to, put those talents or whatnot to public use, you have to voice that. Or else people are not going to get the memo. They're going to continue to kind of like try to pry into your business. You just have to set boundaries either way. And like I said, some people they don't want to, because it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of effort. It's not going to come to you easily. It's going to take trial and error. It's going to take lots of criticism. Everyone is not built for rebuilding over and over again, or built for the tearing down and the slow build back up. I don't know. Some people just they just don't want to. They want to live normal lives. They don't want all the extraness. What habits or hurts or hang-ups or fears might keep you from beginning your life out? No, wait. So what habits or hurts or hang-ups or fears might keep you from beginning to live out and enjoy God's purpose for your life? Habits, hurts, hang-ups, fears. Oh my. I mean, habits, smoking, drinking, overindulging, having too much sex, meeting too many guys to have sex with, meeting too much girls to have sex with, partying too much, overeating, undereating, a porn addiction. That can be another thing that I failed to mention before. Because if you're not having sex, that doesn't mean that you're not watching porn or masturbating too much. Letting depression get the best of you to the point where you're not going out and doing things that you like to do or that you once did. Because I can see the depression setting in if you overeat and you gain too much weight and you find that it's hard to get it off, or the weight is not going to fall off by itself. You have to actually put in the work. Undereating to the point where you're getting too skinny. That's a thing too, which can cause you to be shut in. Oh, I'm too skinny. People are going to, say and do certain things. When you smoke too much, the bags can set in under your eyes. You start to age. That can kind of shun you away. If you're a person who likes to glam up yourself and wear makeup, sometimes what if you fall off and you get so caught up in depression and anxiety that you stop putting on makeup. You stop dressing up yourself. Lack of sleep. It can really turn you into a person that you don't recognize. If you're not taking care of your teeth, like I said before, like with the smoking, it will cause you to lose your teeth. If there's, you know what I'm saying? It's just your appearance. Dryness of your skin if you're not moisturizing. I'm talking to me. making sure that I put Carmex and stuff to hydrate my lips and stuff before I set out for today. Instead of waiting until I get in front of the camera and then realizing, oh, I should have done that. Moisturizing my cuticles. You guys know I like to keep my toes done. Making sure that my nails are cut and prim and prime. Because I noticed that I needed to cut them the other day. I shared that that I was a little bit embarrassed, but luckily I caught it before I actually recorded with my nails in the way. But still, those little things, just taking care of, just washing my hair enough, making sure I moisturize my hair after I wash my hair, so that way I'm not scratching and scratching and scratching. I already know that I have eczema and extremely dry skin. Dry skin equals dry scalp. If you don't moisturize, that means dry, dry, dry. So, lack of confidence because of not really taking care of yourself. It could be a lot of hang-ups, hurts, fears. A breakup. Because you gained too much weight from a last pregnancy and you didn't really drop the rest of that weight. Or we all know that your breast changes after you have your first baby. You might not have those perfect set of breasts anymore. After you have that baby, they may hang a little bit. You can reverse that by certain exercises and by taking care of your body. If not, you might have a natural droop, Getting older and, the person that you might have been so caught up on maybe like, okay, you're too old for me, I want someone younger. Are you going to just sit and fret in all of these hang-ups and fears and hurts? Or are you going to do something about it and try your best to live your life? Don't get stuck. Things will only get worse if you just try not to do, or not try not to do, but things will only get worse for you, if you don't decide, okay, I am going to get myself out of this stupor. I'm not going to just sit here and just let myself just be like this. It's okay. People change. People change their mind. You might change your mind. The way you felt about someone or some things or whatnot changes over time. And it's okay. People fall out of love. People fall out of lust. It happens all the time. It is very, very, very hard, especially when you've dealt with a person for years, especially if you had a child from a person, because you still have that attachment. But again, you can't, and this is very, very much easier said than done. Not everyone is like me, and I understand that. And people are saying, well, I hear you, but I can't. It's hard. I can't make anyone do anything. All I can do is share my experience and what I would possibly do or what I would do. And I've learned that just sitting there and doing nothing about it or complaining about it, whether it be complaining on the internet every day, whether it be just sulking and just stalking the people that your love interest might have been found of, or it's madness. It's not going to do anything but make you worse, make you fall into depression even harder because you're not doing anything to get yourself out the rut. Bothering other people and not trying to fix yourself is not going to fix the issue. Going up to other people that you might think that person's exes or anything, it's not, because when you find out the truth that this person is moving on with their life and you're sitting around thinking something and it's not, you make yourself look crazy. That's why you just have to, it's just, you have to consider some things, like, because I don't know, not everyone is like me. I certainly am not going to be caught up in what someone else is doing. If anything, I'm going to try my best to fight and make sure that I'm the best version of myself. Would that take me getting into some trouble to be able to really boost that awakening that I need? Yes, because it did happen to me. But I'm now at the capacity where I'm so hyper focused, I'm so vigilant in knowing what I want and knowing what I want for the future that I'm just everything else negative I just don't even, it's not the same anymore because I'm so focused on what I know I have to get done by a certain age, because I know that I am getting older. I'm tired of settling for less. And I just try to look up to people now and watch people who are actually worth watching. People who are actually doing things to change their lives. I don't know what more I can say. I'm not going to sit and fester because that's just not going to do anything for me. So the next part he talks about is made to last forever. This life is not all there is. Life on earth is just the dress rehearsal before the real production. You will spend far more time on the other side of death, in eternity, than you will here. Earth is the staging area, the preschool, the tryout for your life in eternity. It is the practice workout before the actual game, the warm-up lap before the race begins. This life is preparation for the next. I totally agree. It's different stages. Even life after death is different stages. Your relationship to God on earth will determine your relationship to Him in eternity, and it will only grow stronger. That's why it's good to go ahead and develop that bond or continue that bond in your actual life years, so that way when you do pass over, of course that's the only way you will make it into heaven, by believing, by living up to God's standards every day. If you don't believe, if you don't try to live like a Christian, of course you're not going to make it into heaven or live in eternity with God. And just because you've done works, I remember I read a part in the Bible where it says, where people say, "Oh God, but I did this, I did that," and He still said, "Depart from me, not your work was of iniquity." So again, just because we might think that we might enter in doesn't necessarily mean we will. That's why it's important just to repent and try to live the best we can, the way that God would live. Treat people, and it's hard. It's like I said again, it's better said than done. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to repent every night, because no one's perfect. No one is going to be wanting to be a walkover or a yes man. It's just some people just are not. But again, repentance and having your own form of relationship with God is the best answer that I can say. It's the best thing you can do for yourself, especially knowing that it is very difficult living a godly life to the T. It's very near impossible, but I know some people that are on the journey and that can do it, but it's not a lot. Very far and in between. Let's see what else that I see. Why do you think God made us to last forever? Well, God did make us in His image, no matter our shortcomings. And if you think about it, the sad part is, even if we don't make it into heaven, if we make it to hell, that's eternal damnation. If you get lucky enough to make it into heaven, that's eternal glorification, paradise. That's why it's important to, like I said, again, get that understanding, get that relationship, form that relationship, keep that bond with God, because it is a forever thing. I don't know if we get reincarnated. We don't know. We don't know if there's a purgatory until we get judged. We can only hear about past stories. But life just makes you think. Life after death makes you think. You want to do things right, because once you do cross over, there's no coming back. We don't know if we get reincarnated. So we want to go in, or we want to live life so that way when that time comes, and we don't know when that time comes, but when it does come, we can be satisfied and happy knowing that eternity will be freeing and not a perishing, brutal, over and over torment. That's something to think about. Why do we spend more time worrying about what won't last and so little time preparing for eternity, which will last forever? That's a good question. Why do we worry about things that won't last? It's human nature. We get caught up. We like what we like. We don't what we don't. But that's not the way. That's not the way to be. Easier said than done. But we can reverse just about anything in life, if we're willing to do so. It's not going to come naturally. We have to be willing to want to make that corrective action. What are you doing right now to prepare for eternity? I'm getting myself prepared as far as getting back that relationship, keeping that bond with God, doing the right thing that I should have done a long time ago, repenting each night before I go to sleep. Maybe that's why I can sleep so good. I don't know. Just learning from past things that did not work. Yes, I'm still going to be myself. Yes, I'm still going to be humorous. Yes, I can't help that I have some personality. But at the same time, I have to think about those who I've hurt along the way, that kind of took in some things that I may have said that hurt them, and they never backlashed back to me, or they never gave me that same fierceness that I may have given them. They turned the other cheek. They were very humble about it. Yeah, I probably hurt their feelings of the way I probably said things, but did they, like I said, did they give me the same coldness that I may have given them? Maybe behind my back, but again, they kept it professional. Just doing things differently now, actually listening, understanding why. Once you not talk so much and just listen, you learn so much more. I find that to be so much true. More and more each day, I see why I like to be by myself. Because I'm starting to look at people like differently. Like, I see why a lot of military people, sometimes when they get out of the military, they find themselves in isolation. Like, they don't really want a partner or a friend. They rather just kind of like do life for the most part alone. I definitely see why people fall back. Um, because you learn so much more when you're in your own space. You need that quietness. You need that time to actually see why things. I don't know. It's hard to explain, especially when you're already different. It's different from us different folks, but um, I'm doing a lot behind the scenes to prepare myself. While I think that I still have time, because like I said, I feel like we still have more time than we think. Yes, things are happening all over the world. They've been happening all over the world, but God does give us time. If we look at the signs, He does give us enough time to change, because He knows when He comes back and that's it. There is no time. So He gives us signs to see if we're going to be paying attention, to be able to redeem ourselves. Because He doesn't want us to perish for eternity. But He's also not going to give us warning and warning and warning, and we're not listening. So it's up to us if we'll take heed or if we'll just be like, just, you know what, I've warned you enough and you're not trying to change. I'm just gonna just go ahead, because I gave you enough warning and you're just not doing anything to help yourself. So what can I do? Because God gets tired too. And so it's just up to us. So seeing life from God's view. It takes a lot, seeing things from God's point of view. Seeing how we treat each other, how we live life, how we are so caught up in the materialistic stuff. And He's not pleased, but again, He gives us time to change those things around. You are always being tested. Yes, we're always being tested every day. But again, God sees what we do to try to change that. Or are we going to do something to try to change that? Life on earth is a trust. It is. This is the second metaphor of life we find in the Bible. Our time, energy, intelligence, opportunities, relationships, and resources are all gifts that God has entrusted to our care and management. We are stewards or managers or whatever God gives us. Life on earth is a trust, because we know that we're just passing through. This is not eternity for us. It's a test to see if we can endure to make it to the end. And the end is paradise, or the end can be damnation and suffering as well. Something to consider, because again, once we die, once we're set in where we're going to go, there's no turning back. And that's something that we all should think about. That's something that we all should consider. It's important. And I'm not trying to sway people's religion or whatnot, but because God is understanding. And you either believe or you don't believe. He's not going to push his way of being onto you. But He is a jealous God. And if you're going to be with Him or live His type of way or attempt to try to do the things that He's done, He's not going to want you to put anything before Him, because He will take it away. Whether it be relationship, marriage, money, anything. anything that you like, and I said this yesterday, anything that you love or put over him, he will take away. And I know some people actually witness that. And it's a sad thing, especially when you really put your all in all into that set person and thing, and God just takes it away. It's a test. We get tested every day, you know. Can you think of a past experience where you can see that God was testing you? Oh yeah. Literally everything that I've been through for the past year and a half, 2 years, led me up to where I'm at now. I don't know where I don't know where I would be if everything that didn't take place in my life over the past 2 years didn't happen. If you were to start living the truth that everything you own is really on loan from God, how would you change the way you feel about your possessions? Now, that's a really good question. If you were to start living the truth that everything you own is really on loan from God, how would you change the way you feel about your possessions? Well, we all know that we can't take any of our prized possessions with us when we die. We all know that. That is a proven fact. And it's okay that we love materialistic things, especially if you have the money to do so, to upkeep it. But we must understand that it is a loan. Just because we own it, we're not taking it with us. It basically is a loan. We can enjoy it. We can upkeep it to make sure that we maintain it. We can upgrade it when need be, but everything that we have under the sun, under the stars, under the moonlight is a loan. We don't own it because we have to give it back to the earth when we do pass. Yeah, we could pass it down to relatives, to children, to loved ones, but when they pass over, it just keeps getting, passed down from generation to generation because we don't own it. When the lineage, dies out, it's going to get passed down to what? The state, to the, it's, and once we realize that, as much as we love that prized possession, or we work so hard to get that prized possession, once we learn that all of our hardworking possessions will only return to the earth because they're only earthly things. Once we learn and understand that, the better. The more at peace we would be once we find out that, I would say why we fight so hard to try to hang on to certain things, but just be at peace and be okay that, it's just a loan at the end of the day. Yeah, I can elaborate on that for hours, but I'm not, because we know that our prized possessions, we would have to one day either pass down or come to the realization that we're not going to take it with us. And, once we, like I said, once we know that we're at peace, knowing that we actually were successful at life, we actually did maintain and were able to have such prized possession, because not a lot of people can say that they worked hard and they got all this land and they were able to um, flourish with their family on that land, or they have multiple cars and they were able to keep up with those cars, or have really good jobs and become successful business owners, and they passed it on to their loved ones. Not a lot of people can say that they've done that in their life. And why that is because certain family members just can't get with the program. They, I don't know one family that everyone is successful. Everyone has that gumption or that grit to do what it takes to stick along with the family. And I don't know, it's a very hard thing to do. And when you have those family members that do it, the very few, it's very inspirational, that it can be done. It's challenging, but it can be done. And as long as those family members have done it, know that all of their materialistic gain that they've been successfully able to achieve, once they understand that those things go back to earth, or they're not coming with us, once those family members figure that out, it'll be peace for everyone. So life is a temporary assignment. That was the next topic. The Bible is full of metaphors that teach us the brief, temporary transit nature of life on earth. Life is only temporary. We don't know how many years. We don't know if we will live to see the 70-something, 80-something. We don't know. But while we are on this temporary assignment, it's very important that we live life to our best potential. God wants us not to get attached to what's around us, because it is all temporary. If you live like this, you will not ever be hurt. God warns us not to get attached to what's around us. It says it. I couldn't say it any other way. In order to keep us from becoming too attached to earth, God allows us to feel a significant amount of discontent and dissatisfaction in life. That also is true. It sucks, it hurts, but sometimes you have to get those repeated lessons to learn. Your time on earth is not the complete story of your life. We can change. If are we willing to put in the work to be able to change, to be able to transform our life around from where we've come. It's all up to you. Let's see what else. Do you think anyone who has already gone on to heaven? Oh, wow. I'm looking at it and I read it wrong. Do you know anyone who has already gone on to heaven? Based on what you have read, what do you imagine they would like to say to you if they could? Now we're entering the end of the book now, y'all. Do you know anyone who has already gone on to heaven? Now, I remember telling y'all that out of all of the people I loved and cherished, not one has ever visited me in my dreams, except for one. And there's a lot of people who passed on that I really, really was attached to. And not one visited me, but one. And I shared this before. And I'm going to leave it at that. And now I'm going to before I close out for the morning, I'm doing really great on time. I love myself. I love that for me, and that's why I stay consistent, because the more I do this thing, the more I know I'll get better at it. And I'm happy. I'm going to stay vigilant, and I'm going to share. Now this is time I'm going to share the rest of the content. The pamphlets and stuff that I got on yesterday. So this one right here. Pray the Rosary. Now, I'm not a Catholic person, but I did pick this up because I wanted to read a little bit more about the Rosary. So this would be something that would be a good topic to discuss for those who are Catholics already, and I can learn a little bit more about the Rosary. I do know one person who may use the Rosary as a form of protection. So I want to know a little bit about it, because I don't know. The next is a prayer book for the armed services. And this was written in 2028. Still beneficial no matter when it was written. I'm going to get some stuff out of here and do some scripture readings with this. Shorter Christian prayer. Y'all look at my favorite. Psalm 91, God's shield of protection. You can get a lot out of this. This is like a pamphlet. And the last little pamphlet or book was this one here. So they had a lot of information. And then I showed you guys the cards, or the card that I got with the Army values. And so yeah, this is all of the booklets, pamphlets that I will be doing recordings on today, possibly even tomorrow. And then I'll be getting back with my book content probably starting on Tuesday. What I would do is whatever I don't get through on today with all of this information, because this is a lot of books that I can do a lot of content with. I will be doing these content with these booklets in the morning. This will be my spiritual thing, and then give my Bible a rest. I'll still do my meditation and my little self-talk that I do every day. So I'll still be very much in tune with God. It's just I'm going to incorporate more readings than just the Bible scriptures. So this right here will be my spirituality, especially this one here. We got this one. We got this one. We got that one. So we have prayer content. We still have spiritual stuff going on besides the Bible itself. So it's not like I'm not still going to be in the Word. I'm still not going to be, it's not like I'm not getting the scriptures in, because this is spiritual content as well that I have. It's not just, random talks about random life things. It's still coinciding with how and why we should keep faith. So I'll be very much still in tune with my Bible stuff. It's just I want to be able to incorporate scriptures and Bible sayings in a way that it's more fun. It's not as boring. Like I said, I like to try to keep whoever is my audience's attention. I like to switch things up. And keep it in a way where it's not bland. It's easy to lose the attention of people if you don't dress up or do something different with your material. People will get bored fast. I know I do. So the only way to keep the attention of your audience is you have to be willing to be versatile. You have to be willing, and you have to know when you have to switch things up too. Because if you're still doing the same things and you're not knowing that it's getting boring, that can be a red flag. If you're a content creator, you have to know when to, you know, you can still do your content on whatever niche you want to do it on, but you have to make sure that you're able to dress it up, switch it up where it stays interesting, because people will eventually look for something else, look for someone else, because you're not getting that you need to change things up. So with that, because I feel like I'm just yapping and it's becoming repetitive. So with that, I'm going to end this video, and then I will update you all before I begin the day for this morning. So I hope you guys learned something from what I did post between this morning and yesterday. I know it was a lot, but it was beneficial for me. And like I said, hopefully you guys learned something. And with that, I will touch bases with you all a little bit later on this morning.